Okay, so before we get started here, just a quick note. If you look ahead of us, you'll see this big kind of ridge sticking out. That is actually the bottom end of a geological feature. And I don't know if you can kind of see it over there. There's more over there. These are a geological feature that people know as the Pidgetawabik Palisades. And the name Pidgetawabik is an indigenous word. And basically, Pidgetawabik Bay, there's another thing called Pidgetawabik Bay basically is one of the bays that come off of Lake Nipigon. And so there's Pidgetawabik Bay, there's Orient Bay, and then basically we come through here. So this used to be an old outlet of Lake Nipigon. And so these palisades basically go from this area all the way up along Pidgetawabik Bay. And the word Pidgetawabik apparently means Bay of the Rock Faces. And so you have these very prominent cliffs that kind of stick out. The dog's rolling around. Hopefully she's not rolling in something. And the reason why I'm sort of pointing this out is because that's going to kind of come into play a little bit as we move a little bit farther along here. Now, just a quick note about kind of the time of the year and kind of what's going on. So today is the 5th of May. Today is actually going to be our last spring hiking day for this year. I prefer to do my hikes in the spring, just as soon as the snow goes, because generally when the leaves are not out and the grass is all flattened down and hasn't really started to grow, you can really see things. Now, unfortunately, and I've mentioned this a lot on our hikes this year, we haven't had a particularly spectacular year. We had a very bad winter, a lot of snow, very cold, and the spring maybe was even worse because it did not warm up. It just kept snowing. And so literally I did my first hike last year, so 2021, I did my first hike on the 14th of April. And this year my first hike was the 4th of May. And I know a few days later on one of my hikes, I was on part of the grade sort of closer to Thunder Bay, and there were patches of snow still on the grade. And we were in this area. We actually did the piece the other side. So where we started this hike, the piece to the east of that, we did that on the 15th of May. And the leaves were already started coming out. So it was just, we just had a crazy year. You know, literally the snow went away and it went away very quickly. It seemed like it warmed up very quickly. The snow went away and poof, all of the vegetation started coming out. And so we've had this very abbreviated hiking season. It's very frustrating because, you know, it didn't leave us as much time as I would have liked to do hikes and things like that. And, you know, as you can see now that the leaves are really starting to come out, the vegetation starting to grow, it makes it very difficult to see things, you know, that are in the brush, telegraph poles, signage, things like that. So I always try to kind of avoid, you know, those types of things. We do have something coming up here. Just trying to figure out what it is. Okay, so speaking of signage, somewhere around here is supposed to be milepost 103, somewhere in this next little stretch here as we're going through this cutting. Nowhere to be found. I've looked, I've been through here a few times, the original hike that I did, and then obviously today, and there was another time that I came through here and I looked for this milepost marker. And it's really weird because on the previous section, so starting back at Orient Bay, which is milepost 91, all the milepost markers are there for the next, except for one. So from 91 to 101, all the milepost markers are there except for 98. And then once you hit 101, that's it. That's the last one. And then 102, 103, 104, 5, 6, 7, 8, none of them are there. So it's just so weird and random how that all works. So it was supposed to be somewhere here, but nothing. So I'm going to, you get a good view of the Palisades here. So I'm going to zip you ahead a little bit. It's very sunny today. I'm not going to complain. It'd be nice if we had a little bit of cloud to even out the light here. but I'm not going to complain about a nice sunny day because, again, with the winter that we had, that would not be okay. All right, so just enjoy the scenery here. All right, so our next little stop here, because there's no milepost markers, we'll have to rely on the culvert markers. And again, so weird. Some areas you go in, can't find any culvert markers, or they're completely illegible. This one is very legible, so you can read the mileage 103.27. Again, that is the mileage on the Kinghorn. So for the original lines, we have to subtract the 49.7, and so that becomes 53.57. All right, let's keep her going here. Now there's another culvert here, and it's got the same mileage. 103.27. So I don't know if they just didn't bother to change the mileage or what, because they're not on top of each other. It's a little bit of a distance there. So here, I don't know if you can see through the trees, you can see Wanogu Lake. Don't know the origins of the name Wanogu. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, it would likely be something indigenous. All right, next stop. Okay, so got a piece of signage here. So what's interesting is when I was here in 2020, I actually saw this sign. Had no idea what it was about. Basically, I just saw it and it was just like, what's this sign there? And so as it turns out, basically this is kind of a variation of a flanger sign. Essentially what that marker means is that there's an obstruction coming up. And so when they're using the spreader plow, that the operator knows to pull up one of the wings because there's something that is going to catch on one of the wings. So we're going to take a look at what that is. Here you can see there's a Dominion 42 insulator with the peg still in it. I'm not sure where that sort of came from. Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that there were kind of two really interesting things on this section. There was the sort of the twin culverts that we looked at in the first segment, and then there's this. I've asked around, nobody kind of knows what this is. I'm going to give you kind of a close-up view of it. And so just to kind of give you a little background to this, there are several sections of this line right from the very beginning that were sort of flagged as sort of areas of problems, problematic areas along Pidgetawabik and Orient Bay, and then closer to Thunder Bay along Pass Lake. There's some really big ridges, and rockfall was a big problem. This wasn't one of those original areas. This area was actually added in 1930. So I'll flash up that timetable from 1930. And basically what it'll do is it'll show you that milepost 54, which we're at right here, this is milepost 54 on the original line, was a problematic area. So what they did, at some point, they added this concrete rail. And again, I've asked around, nobody really knows what it is. We did take some measurements, so I did video it. We're going to show that. I did take some measurements and stuff. Good thing I have a measuring tape here in my tickle trunk. Some of the Canadian fans will get that. And so we'll have a look at that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a close-up look at this this curb, this rail, whatever you want to call it here. According to my GPS, I measure 67 meters in length. Which is, so from this point to where the rail ends, which is about 220 feet. Now I was kind of wondering about kind of the measurements of this, and because I always am prepared, I do have a measuring tape with me. And so it looks like it's about 15 inches across. This upper part is, I don't know, about 3 inches above the other one. This inside part, it's kind of hard to tell because it can sort of vary. And you can see it's just completely smooth. So there's, again, there's kind of a lip to it. There's kind of 2 tiers to it. So you basically have this bottom ledge, which is, the bottom part is about 8 inches. And this upper part is about 5 inches. And then there's obviously a bevel to this. How did I get 15 inches? Maybe it's 14 inches. So we'll kind of walk along here. You see that it's smooth, you know, because there was a bit of discussion that I had with former CN guys, and they were sort of asking for more details about this and kind of what it looked like. And some people were asking, like, is there attachment points for a fence? Because this is sort of common in, you know, rockfall areas where you have like sort of a concrete blocks or concrete pinnings, and you have a fence. But I don't really see any of that. I just see this kind of 2-tiered rail. You can see some of the rockfall. That's obviously an issue. You can see this one big chunk here that's sort of come down. I don't know if they were preformed pieces because some are longer than others. No, maybe they are preformed pieces because you can kind of see there's a uniform length to them. Yeah, maybe these are preformed pieces. They weren't sort of formed in place here. And then it continues on here. Now there's a break. I don't know if they were ripped out here, but there's a break. You can see part of it is kind of buried in the ballast here. So I don't know if it's here. I don't see anything in there. And then it's over here again. Again, no attachment points, nothing, just this rail. Let's see if we can get a measurement on the lengths here. Good thing I carry this measuring tape with me. Okay, so this is 60 inches. So maybe they're 72 inches, 6-foot sections. I don't know, maybe another 12 inches there. I don't know, that's maybe looks right. And again, over here you could see some of those rocks that may have come down. And then the rail continues over here. Again, you can see sort of the ballast that's piled up on top of it. And it comes to an end somewhere under here. I don't know if it continues that way, but it doesn't look like that. Okay, so let's jump back on the bike and we'll kind of zoom past here and continue our journey. Okay, so now that we've looked at that, let's press our way ahead here. And so you can see the rail right beside us, or the curb. I don't even know what to call that. And so up here, we have the last piece of that. So this is kind of where the curb comes to an end. And, right. Did I roll by it? Nope, it's up here. Right up here. I didn't find this until last year, so I didn't see this on my original hike. Again, probably totally obscured by the vegetation. And so what we have is we have the other end of the flanger sign, or the basically the wing warning, the plow warning sign. And then on top of that, obviously indicating that this is a problematic area with the rock, we have a permanent slow order sign, basically alerting crews to slow down this area, and of course with its obligatory bullet hole in it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll hold up here for a second, and then we'll just continue our journey.